Welcome to Writing 121. I'm Janice Child. This semester, the textbook you'll be using is called A Pocket Style Manual. It's written by Diana Hacker and Nancy Summers. I'm using the 7th edition, which looks like the cover that's in the slide that you're looking at. Is it worth buying? Yes, it is. It really is. If this is the only textbook, then your textbook requirements for this class are pretty small, but they're important. And I expect that you'll be bringing your text with you every time we meet. When I was an undergraduate, I had a French instructor who said when we didn't bring our copy of the French text that if you hired a carpenter, you wouldn't expect him to show up for work without his hammer. And I don't expect you to show up for class without your textbook. This one's a good textbook for a number of reasons. As you can see from the cover, it provides information on clarity, how to get rid of wordy sentences, how to use active versus passive verbs, to balance parallel ideas, to include needed words to eliminate confusing shifts both in point of view and in tense, to untangle mixed grammar, to repair misplaced words, phrases, and clauses, and eliminate dangling modifiers and split infinitives. Are these terms that you're familiar with, or am I just making your eyes glaze over? If you have questions about these terms, know that the answers are in this book, which will also provide information on sentence variety and varying sentence openings. It'll help you to find an appropriate voice, which means eliminating jargon and cliches, slang, sexist language, and offensive language. You'll find that I'll be sending you to the book whenever I find a grammatical problem in your essay. This is much better than writing out, a couple of hundred words on how to fix a run-on sentence. This is your go-to resource for information on grammatical problems. So let's take run-on sentences, for example. Do you know what they are and how to fix them? You'll find the answer both in the grammar section of the book as well as in the punctuation section. Each paper you write this semester will need a minimum of 3 good sources. You can read about how to do research in this book. You'll also find most of the information you'll need to competently use the MLA style of citing your sources. At the end of the semester, I think you'll want to keep this textbook because it'll be useful for any paper you write, whether it's using the MLA style, which is common in English classes, or the APA style, which is common in psychology classes and sometimes sociology classes, the Chicago style, and the CSE style, which is the Council of Science Editors. So it's a good book to have. It's a great book to keep. And that's the only book you'll have to purchase. And I don't know, I think it's probably around $30. And you can buy an older version if you'd like. Yes, you can, but don't buy a very old version. So what will the semester look like? First of all, you're going to be doing a lot of reading and a lot of writing. In addition to the analytical essays you'll be writing, you will also be expected to write short essays in the discussions about the readings and presentations I've assigned, as well as your research. You'll be asked to teach a concept, to write revisions to your essays, and to make sure that you have 2 papers out of the 3 you write this semester that you feel confident submitting for a grade. The idea is to give you a lot of experience writing for a college audience, to give you a chance to improve your skills, both by reading good essays and by writing a lot. The more you read and write, the better writer you'll be. So, what about these 3 papers? Each of them will be between 1,100 and 1,300 words, about 5 pages, give or take, and they'll be analytical. Each will start with an interesting title designed to capture your reader's attention and an introduction that leads up to your point, the idea that you believe and want to convince your readers to consider. This is your thesis statement. And then as you move into the body of the paper, you provide analysis. You provide the why of what you believe, the points you want to make that support that main point, subpoints. So you have the main point in the thesis and subpoints in each paragraph. And you'll be using credible sources, experts on the topic you're writing about to support your points. For Writing 121, you are writing an argumentative essay in that you have an arguable point that you are supporting. But unlike a classical argument, you don't have to refute the opposition's point of view. It's about what you believe. It's not a research paper. It's about what you believe. And your support, your experts, are just there to support what you believe. You'll be using logos, which is logic, pathos, which is an appeal to emotions, and ethos, which is credibility, both of your sources and yourself, to be persuasive. You're going to be objective, so not accusatory or antagonistic. You're going to be objective in making your point. You'll be writing a draft for peer review, and from that experience, you may get ideas to help you improve your draft. And then you'll submit your new and improved draft to me for comments. The first time you submit your draft, I will not provide grades. I will provide comments. And then you'll have a chance to revise the best 2 out of the 3 essays you write for a final grade. So, I want to talk just a bit about the Pomodoro approach, which is breaking a process into parts. The Pomodoro technique is really an approach to time management, and it's also a great approach to use in writing. The idea is that you use a kitchen timer, and the inventor of the technique used one of those timers that looks like a tomato, and Pomodoro in Italian is tomato. He suggests that you tackle your task for a specific amount of time, let's say 20 minutes. So you set your timer for 20 minutes, and you do the first part of your task. The timer goes off, and you get up and you take a break from the task. You physically get away from the task. And you can do this when you're writing a paper. You might start with the researching phase. You research your topic to find out what's been written about it recently, what's the conventional wisdom about it, what might be an interesting facet that you could focus on in your paper, and a unique perspective. So you do this for 20 minutes, then you get up and move away from your work for a little while. Then you come back and you review your research and you begin to brainstorm. Maybe you use clustering or mind mapping, which looks very similar to clustering. You know, those little balloons, and you link balloons to balloons, and you get subtopics and then subtopics of those subtopics. And I think the further you get away from the broad topic, the better. Maybe you use journalist questions, who, what, when, where, why, and how, to find a specific topic that interests you and about which you can be interesting. So make sure it's pretty tightly focused, because 1,100 to 1,300 words is not a very long paper. And you want to be as interesting and specific as you can be. So if you're a photographer, think of it like using a macro lens instead of a wide-angle lens. Get up close and personal with your topic. So you do that for 20 minutes, and then you take a break. You walk away. And when you come back, you take the next 20 minutes and write as much as you can of your first draft. Then the timer rings and you walk away. And you keep this up until you have a good first draft. So don't get overwhelmed. Get excited about your topic and what you have to say about it. So, is it one and done? Do you write your paper that way and then you say, oh my God, this is so wonderful, I think I'm finished? No. You have a chance to work on the process of improving your essay before you receive a grade. In fact, you can revise your essay more than once. You might want to use the Pomodoro technique for your revisions as well. So what else are you going to be doing this semester? Well, you're going to be teaching something. And the best way to learn something is to teach it, because you have to know the answers to all the possible questions before you can feel comfortable talking about it. And so I'm asking you to make presentations on some facets of the writing process and teach each other. You'll be making PowerPoints or Prezis or using some other presentation software to create an interesting presentation, or maybe thesis statements or run-on sentences, or using the MLA style of citing sources. So write a script, review it, practice it, and then create an audio track based on your script. Save your presentation and upload it to the discussion board, or save it to YouTube and provide the link. Then review the presentations of 2 other students and comment on them. It won't be hard to find the information either in your textbook or online on a University Writing Center site, but find a way to make it meaningful and useful. Presentations are part of today's communication process. This is a great skill to learn, and it's also important to know that everything comes from the written word. So what else? Discussions. Have you ever noticed that some students love to talk in class and some sit quietly and never say boo? Online discussions are a great way to give everyone a chance to have an equal voice. No one can speak louder or interrupt in an online discussion, and everyone has a chance to present his or her unique perspective. Since this is a writing class, I'm expecting clear ideas written well. Since this class begins on Thursday, you must post your post by Sunday at 11:59 and respond to 2 other posts by Wednesday, which is the final day of the class. And this schedule will be true until Thanksgiving, when our week shifts from Thursday to Wednesday to one that begins on Monday and ends on Sunday. What else? Your final papers. So you wrote 3, and you revised 2, and then you submit your revisions for a grade. These 2 papers will represent about 60% of your final grade. They are significant. But what am I telling you here? I'm telling you that the process of writing that you participate in through the discussions, the readings, the revisions, the peer review, represent about 40% of your grades. You can't pass if you don't do both parts. So don't forget, you must do all the assignments to do well in this class, from discussions to teaching a concept, to peer review, to revisions, to the final essays. You control your grade. Don't let it get away from you. One more thing, look at the image of the paper on this presentation. Comments are included in the margin. I use this approach too. It's called Track Changes in Microsoft Word. And if you haven't seen it, know that I will explain how it works after your first paper. Track Changes gives me the chance to be thorough in my comments and for you to accept or reject my questions or suggestions. It also gives me the chance to compare your revision to your first draft. It's a great tool. So, welcome to 121, and I'll have more information for you on how the grades break down and what the rubrics look like in another presentation. So thank you, and take care.